Well, primarily children watch cartoons, but adults watch cartoons too. In fact, in the evening, on the average evening, more adults are tuned to the Cartoon Network than they're tuned to CNN. There's kids in all of us, or a kid in all of us, and these cartoons and this channel are for everybody here and later around the world.
Welcome back. Time for another history of Unmade Hanna-Barbera projects. We're all familiar with the rock band The Beach Boys, but did you know they almost had their own Hanna-Barbera cartoon in the 70s? In typical HB fashion, the show would have been about the adventures of the Beach Boys as they travel around accompanied by wacky animal sidekicks, a puppy, and an orangutan. The timing couldn't have been more ripe, because this was around the time other music group cartoons were popping up, like the Jackson 5, the Osmonds, and even a pre-Jesse's Girl, Rick Springfield, got a cartoon called Mission Magic.
Do you believe in magic? 'Cause I believe that I do.
Hanna-Barbera even went into merchandise negotiations with the Beach Boys. The show never got off the ground, mostly because the usual reasons when it comes to big celebrity cartoons like this. Creative differences, high production costs, and rights issues. Sadly, we never got to see the crazy cartoon antics of the Beach Boys, or their pet orangutan, who I'm 100% sure would have been voiced by Don Messick. Animated versions of popular live-action sitcoms were also a big staple of 70s Saturday morning cartoons. HB almost did a TV series of the 60s sci-fi adventure series Lost in Space, but only a pilot was made. The plot has new members of the Robinson family, led by Craig Robinson, on a mission, but end up getting stuck on a planet. Of course, Dr. Smith is also on board, being cowardly and scheming as usual. Jonathan Harris was the only original cast member to return. Even Hanna-Barbera knew you couldn't replace Harris. This pilot aired on ABC's Saturday Superstar movie and wasn't picked up for its full series. My guess is that it wasn't well received. One of the projects I was looking forward to was the Elizabeth Banks-led Flintstones revival, Bedrock, for Fox, which featured an adult Pebbles voiced by Banks. It had an interesting cast that definitely seemed like unique choices. Stephen Root as Fred, Amy Sedaris as Wilma, Nicole Byer as Betty. These are some of my favorite character actors. I would have loved to hear their takes on these classic characters. Most recently, a friend of mine showed me concept art for the show by character designer Jim Soper, whose work I really enjoyed in the more recent Looney Tunes cartoons. These are very nice designs. This unfortunately got canned midway through development. Could have been problems between Fox and Warner Brothers, who owns Flintstones, but I assume Zaslav got his tax write-off hands on this too. But hey, at least we got the CGI animated origin movie coming up. Yay! There's some other scrap projects that don't have much info, but I felt are worth mentioning here, like Dastardly and Muttley Battle the Universe, created by the late Gordon Kent. Judging by the presentation art by Jim Stenstrom, it looked pretty cool, and me being a Dastardly and Muttley fan, I would have totally dug it. There's Hanna-Barbera Babies, an obvious attempt to capitalize on Muppet Babies, and from Warner Brothers, Hong Kong Phooey and a Chop Chop Crew, where Hong Kong Phooey mentors a bunch of kids in martial arts. One of my favorite shorts from the What a Cartoon anthology series in the late 90s was Blues Gang, about 3 dogs going on adventures when their owners aren't around. There was supposed to be a follow-up short called The Skies of Blue, where the dogs made their own airline. The creator Mike Milo uploaded the whole animatic on his YouTube channel. Check it out, it's pretty funny.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I want to take a moment to shout out the Joe Blow Awfully Good Movies channel, hosted by my good friend Jesse Shade. Jesse reviews a ton of famously bad movies from the past and present with his comedic writing and editing. His reviewing style really got me hooked on the channel years ago, and I hope it will for you too. I totally recommend checking out his channel. Subscribe to the Joe Blow Awfully Good Movies channel today.
Now arriving at Kids WB.
Toonami now begins with Scooby-Doo right here on Kids WB.
I don't think I need to tell you that Scooby-Doo had tons of unmade projects back then and today. There's a new Netflix live-action series coming soon, and I'm cautiously optimistic. Did you know the idea of a live-action Scooby series goes back to the mid-70s? According to the late writer Dwayne Poole, there were talks of a live-action Scooby and Shaggy series to be made by Hanna-Barbera, and he was going to play Shaggy.
Well, when we were doing Shaggy and when we were doing the Scooby show, there was some talk about doing a live-action Scooby and Shaggy series. And it was going to be a Saturday morning series. They wanted to use, if you've seen by now, I'm sure, those old park heads for Scooby, those big plastic heads that don't move, don't react, don't blink, don't do anything. They're just a plastic head within a cloth costume that just is. So, I mean, they're just so lame. But they thought that maybe they could do this, and so they wanted to shoot some test footage, and they asked me to be Shaggy. So I put on the wig and the goatee and the outfit and everything. And with an actor inside the Scooby outfit, we went down into the bowels of Hanna-Barbera where all the ductwork was, and it looked like something out of a Scooby Shaggy episode. And we did I think it must have been all of 5 minutes of 5-minute test footage of Shaggy and Scooby live, going through some scenes.
But like you said, it was mostly talk. I'm not even sure this even went to the pitching stages. Still, that is pretty interesting. Of all the Scooby-Doo incarnations, to me, nothing beats the original Where Are You series. Not only it was the first series, but it was also the show that naturally got me into Scooby-Doo in the first place, as I watched Cartoon Network in the mid-90s. And it still holds up. So you can imagine my surprise when I learned there was actually an unproduced episode from Where Are You that was supposed to air during the 1969 through 1970 fall season. Scooby-Doo meets the Pumpkin Giant. Not much is known about the plot, but assuming it was a Halloween special or episode, and it's even got an interesting looking villain, and this was already a series with a lineup of iconic monsters. I can't believe they were upping the ante this early in their run. I hope there's storyboards or a script that will be revealed soon, because I would really love to learn more about this. I've already talked about other Scooby media that never got off the ground, like the 70s episode Escape from Witch Island or the Hex Girls spin-off series. My good friends JB and Millie got to talk to background designer Tristan Cole. She revealed some pitches for Scooby-Doo movies in the What's New era that were rejected. Scooby-Doo and the Riddle of the Sphinx, Scooby-Doo and the Legend of the Haunted Hood, Scooby-Doo and the London Werewolf, and Scooby-Doo and the Spirit of India. Somehow, I feel the last one we would have gotten into places that hadn't aged well if it did get picked up, so good call there, WB. Now let's discuss Hanna-Barbera's Cartoon Network productions and the unmade projects they had. We could talk about the live-action Powerpuff Girls show that was rightfully cancelled, but now we're just going to focus on the scrap Johnny Bravo live-action film from the early 2000s. I think most people know this was going to star Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Johnny during his transition from wrestling to acting. According to Van Partible, The Rock wanted the Johnny Bravo movie to be his Austin Powers franchise. He was planning some merchandise, Hollywood writers were attached, and a new season of Johnny Bravo was made to coincide with the release of said movie. The 4th season of Johnny Bravo did happen, but for whatever reason, the movie was canned. And I'm sure the failure of the Powerpuff Girls movie didn't help either. Hell, Warner even couldn't get a Samurai Jack movie off the ground. Partible mentioned on Butch Hartman's podcast he has a full script of the Johnny Bravo movie. Whether he'll share any details in the future is another story. And finally, let's talk about a canceled late 90s Hanna-Barbera crossover game, Zoinks, aka Pandemonium. It was a point-and-click game for the PC. It would have featured a bunch of classic Hanna-Barbera characters, mainly Fred Flintstone, Dino, and Scooby and Shaggy, stopping Dick Dastardly and Muttley from taking the sounds of the world. This gives major Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera vibes, and I'm here for it. That was one of my favorite attractions at Universal, and I would have loved to play something similar to that. They even got some ex-Disney artists to work on the animation, and some of the then current voice actors like Henry Corden and Casey Kasem came back to reprise their roles. This sounds like a great idea for a game. Unfortunately, with most great ideas, it never saw the light of day, and I'm not entirely sure why. If you'd like to learn more, check out the site Unseen64, link in the description. So I hope you enjoyed another edition of the history of unmade Hanna-Barbera projects. Are there any more I missed, or are there ones you'd like to hear on a third video? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, I'm 47 Cartoon Guy, and I gotta fly. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. click the bell icon for more updates, and like and comment on the video. It helps a great deal in the algorithm. I hope you'll all stay tuned because I have more stuff coming your way. You can support the channel by becoming a member of my Patreon, giving a super thanks, or my new YouTube membership program. Special shout out to my 2 new members, Alfonsia F, Hey Dad, and Ryan Wilkins 2233. Thank you all so much for your continued support. Until next time, I'm 47 Cartoon Guy, and I gotta fly. I'll catch you later.